Imagine sitting at a dinner table with the man who wants to destroy you. You have the stronger army. You have more soldiers. You have the advantage. And most importantly, your enemy is sitting right in front of you. You could end everything tonight. One decision, one command, one sword. But instead, you let him walk away. And years later, that man becomes one of the most powerful rulers in Chinese history. This actually happened. And the strange part is, the man who had the power to end his enemy's future was convinced that he didn't need to. His name was Xiang Yu, and the man sitting across from him was Liu Bang. Welcome to Human Nature Chronicles. Here we explore ancient stories, historical figures, and forgotten moments from the past, not simply to learn what happened, but to understand why people make the decisions they do. Because sometimes history changes because of a great battle, and sometimes it changes because someone hesitates for just a few minutes. Today, we are going to a dinner that became one of the most famous political traps in Chinese history. A dinner where everyone in the room knew something terrible was about to happen, except the person with the greatest power. More than 2,000 years ago, China was falling apart. The Qin dynasty, which had unified much of the country, had collapsed into chaos. Different armies began fighting for control. And among the strongest leaders was a young and powerful general named Xiang Yu. He was physically imposing. He was aggressive. He was confident. His army was feared. Many people believed he was destined to become the next great ruler. But another man was rising. His name was Liu Bang. Unlike Xiang Yu, Liu Bang was not known for overwhelming military strength. He was not the strongest warrior. He did not have the most impressive background, but he understood people. He knew how to attract followers, and more importantly, he knew how to survive. The two men were now competing for the same prize, control of China. One day, Xiang Yu received shocking news. Liu Bang's army had entered the Qin capital first. Liu Bang had achieved something Xiang Yu desperately wanted. He had taken control of the heart of the former Qin Empire. Xiang Yu was furious. He gathered his army. He had hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Liu Bang's forces were much weaker. The situation looked hopeless for Liu Bang. Then Liu Bang's advisors sent a message. They wanted to negotiate. They invited Xiang Yu to a banquet, a diner, a peaceful meeting. At least, that was what it appeared to be. But behind the scenes, different people were preparing for something very different. Liu Bang knew if Xiang Yu attacked, he could lose everything. Xiang Yu knew if Liu Bang was allowed to grow stronger, he could become a serious threat. The two men sat down together. They smiled. They exchanged polite words. But everyone in that room understood this was not really a dinner. It was a battle without armies. And then one of the most famous moments in Chinese history began. Liu Bang was sitting inside the camp of a man who could destroy him. He had no army around him strong enough to guarantee his safety. His enemy was only a few meters away. And somewhere inside that room, someone was waiting for the signal to attack. The diner began peacefully. Music played. Food was served. People smiled. But underneath the polite conversation, everyone was watching everyone else. Liu Bang knew he was in danger. His advisor Fan Zhen knew it too. But there was another man who understood the danger even better. His name was Fan Zeng. He was Xiang Yu's most trusted strategist, and he immediately saw what Xiang Yu could not. Fan Zeng looked at Liu Bang. Then he looked at Xiang Yu. He believed Liu Bang was not simply a defeated rival. He was a future threat. If Xiang Yu allowed him to leave, he might never get another opportunity. Fan Zeng repeatedly signaled Xiang Yu. He wanted him to give the order, but Xiang Yu hesitated. Why? Because Xiang Yu believed he was already in control. He had the larger army. He had the stronger position. He believed Liu Bang was afraid of him. And when you believe you are already winning, you often stop thinking about how you could lose. Eventually, Fan Zeng decided to act. He called for Xiang Zhuang, one of Xiang Yu's generals. Xiang Zhuang entered the room. He claimed he wanted to perform a sword dance for entertainment. The music continued. The guests watched. Xiang Zhuang began moving. His sword flashed through the air. At first, it looked like a performance, but everyone understood the real purpose. He was waiting for the right moment to kill Liu Bang. Imagine being Liu Bang. You are sitting at a table. A sword is moving around you. Everyone is smiling. But you know, this person is trying to kill you. And yet, you cannot simply stand up and run. That could trigger an attack immediately. So Liu Bang stayed calm. He waited. Then another man entered. He was loyal to Liu Bang. His name was Xiang Bo. He understood what was happening. He immediately joined the sword dance. He positioned himself between Xiang Zhuang and Liu Bang. Every time Xiang Zhuang moved toward Liu Bang, Xiang Bo blocked him. The opportunity disappeared. Fan Zeng was furious. He had already seen the danger. He knew the opportunity was disappearing. He wanted Xiang Yu to act, but Xiang Yu still hesitated. Perhaps he believed, Liu Bang isn't important. Why should I kill him? Let him go. His army is weak. I can defeat him later. This is where the story becomes much more than a historical event, because this kind of mistake happens every day. A business sees a competitor growing. They say, they're too small. A company notices a new technology. They say, it's just a trend. A person sees a problem in their relationship. They say, we'll deal with it later. A young employee begins outperforming them. They say, they're just lucky. The problem is not always that people fail to see danger. Sometimes they see it. They simply don't believe it matters yet. Eventually, Liu Bang found an opportunity. He left the banquet. He escaped back to his camp, and he survived. Xiang Yu had possessed the power to end the threat, but he allowed the threat to leave. At that moment, he probably believed nothing important had happened. But history would prove otherwise, because Liu Bang was not finished. He was only getting started. After the banquet, the two men went in completely different directions. Xiang Yu continued to rely on military strength. Liu Bang continued building alliances. He recruited talented people. He gained support. He learned from his mistakes. Over time, the balance of power changed. The man who had escaped from the banquet became stronger. Eventually, Xiang Yu and Liu Bang fought again. And then, years after that dinner, Liu Bang's forces surrounded Xiang Yu. The man who once controlled the battlefield was now trapped. The situation had completely reversed, and suddenly, The decision made at that dinner became much more important. One man had possessed power, but failed to use it at the critical moment. The other man had possessed less power, but used every opportunity to survive. There is a psychological trap hidden here. When you are stronger than someone, you naturally believe you have more time. You think, I can deal with this later. I don't need to rush. They aren't a serious threat. But time is not neutral. Time gives opportunities to both sides. The person who is weaker today may become stronger tomorrow. The employee you ignore may become your competitor. The small company you dismiss may eventually dominate your market. The problem you avoid may eventually become much harder to solve. This doesn't mean you should attack every competitor. That's not the lesson. The lesson is never confuse today's advantage with permanent security. But there is another mistake. Some people become so afraid of future threats that they attack everything. They see competition everywhere. They treat every disagreement as a war. They destroy relationships because they are afraid of being betrayed. That is also dangerous, because not every small problem becomes a big problem. Not every competitor needs to be destroyed. Not every disagreement needs to become a conflict. The real skill is judgment, knowing which problems need action now, and which problems need patience. Xiang Yu's mistake wasn't simply that he showed mercy. His deeper mistake was that he failed to accurately judge the situation. He confused, I have the advantage, with, I am safe. Those are not the same thing. Lesson 1. Never confuse temporary advantage with permanent victory. Winning today doesn't guarantee winning tomorrow. Lesson 2. Small threats deserve attention before they become big problems. Not panic. Not overreaction. Just attention. Lesson 3. The most important skill is judgment. Knowing when to act. Knowing when to wait. And knowing when you are simply protecting your ego. Years later, Liu Ban defeated Xiang Yu. The man who once sat helplessly at the banquet eventually became emperor. Think about how strange that is. At the dinner, Xiang Yu had almost everything. The stronger army, the stronger position, the psychological advantage, the opportunity. Liu Ban had almost none of those things. He had only one advantage. He understood that he was vulnerable. And perhaps that made him more careful. This is something successful people often forget. When you are losing, you pay attention to everything. You listen. You observe. You learn. But when you become successful, you start believing, I already know what I'm doing. And that is when danger begins. Imagine you are running a business. A competitor enters your market. They are small. You have more customers, more money, more employees. You think they can't compete with us, so you ignore them. 5 years later, they have become the industry leader. Or imagine you're in a relationship. You notice small problems. You ignore them. You think, we've been together for years. We'll be fine. Then one day, you realize the distance has become enormous. Problems rarely become dangerous overnight. They grow quietly. That's why successful people need something more important than confidence, awareness. When something small appears in your life, don't immediately ask, is this good or bad? Ask, could this become important? If yes, pay attention. If no, let it go. This simple question prevents two extremes, ignoring everything and worrying about everything. Good judgment lives somewhere between the two. The story of the hangman. Banquet is often remembered as a story about two great historical figures, but perhaps it is really a story about timing, about judgment, about the danger of assuming I have plenty of time. Sometimes the most important moment in your life doesn't look important when it happens. A conversation, a decision, a person you meet, an opportunity, a warning you ignore. You may not realize its importance until years later. So pay attention, not because you should live in fear, but because life is often decided by moments that seem ordinary at the time. Thank you for watching Human Nature Chronicles. Here, we explore ancient stories and forgotten moments from history and look for the human lessons hidden inside them. Because the names may be thousands of years old, but the emotions are not. We still compete. We still underestimate people. We still become overconfident. And we still make decisions that can change our lives. If you enjoyed this story, and you like discovering the hidden lessons behind history, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating stories that connect the past with the problems we face today. And if you have a story from history that you think contains a powerful lesson about human nature, leave it in the comments. Maybe it will become the subject of our next story. And remember, don't assume today's advantage will protect you tomorrow. Sometimes, the person you ignore today is the person you will have to face tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next story.